Sophia's mornings had begun to feel like thin paper, fragile, translucent, easily torn by the weight of the world. She stirred her coffee absent-mindedly, watching the steam curl upward, twisting and vanishing into the gray light of the cafe window. Outside, the city moved like a machine she could no longer trust, people hurrying in rhythms she didn't feel a part of. Even her apartment had grown quiet in ways that pressed against her chest. The walls, white and familiar, seemed to sigh around her, and the books on her shelves looked like hollow things, their stories already spent. She thought not for the first time that maybe life itself had lost its flavor. Then at night, when the world fell dark and the hum of distant traffic became a lullaby, he appeared. At first she thought it was a trick of the shadows, a corner of her imagination stretched too thin. But then the light cascaded, warm and impossibly bright, forming a shape she could not name. He stood across the room, no, above the floor, almost floating, a figure carved from flame yet solid enough to pull at the air around him. Sophia's heart stuttered, a wild rhythm in her chest that she had not felt in years. The man did not speak. He did not need to. His presence brushed against her like a current, a quiet fire that awakened something long asleep within her. She reached out, fingers trembling, but the warmth slipped through her hands as though he were both there and somewhere else all at once, and then he was gone. The room was dark, her pulse loud in the sudden emptiness. The ordinary walls, the ordinary furniture, the dull hum of the city beyond her window, all of it now felt hollow, like a shadow of what it had pretended to be. Sophia pressed her palms to her eyes, trying to trap the memory, the glow, the weight of him. But it flickered, slipping between her fingers, leaving only a tingling warmth that lingered like a secret she could not yet name. She lay awake long after the vision faded, tracing the outlines of the ordinary ceiling as if it could tell her why he had come, why he had chosen the darkness of her room to touch her soul. Ordinary life, she realized with a sudden ache, would no longer be enough. Something had begun in the silent spaces between her breaths, and she did not yet know whether it would consume her or set her free. Morning arrived too quickly. The sunlight spilling through her curtains was thin and colorless, as if even the day had lost its hue. Sophia blinked against it, feeling the dull ache of wakefulness settle over her like a film. But beneath it, beneath the ordinary sound of her kettle, the rustle of her sheets, the pulse of her own breathing, something shimmered. She could still feel him. It wasn't a memory, not exactly. It was more like an echo of warmth in her chest, a vibration that hummed softly through her bones. She pressed a hand to her heart and felt it there, a quiet thrum, steady and alive, as though some invisible flame had taken root inside of her. The city outside was waking too. Distant sirens, footsteps on the pavement, the metallic chorus of daily life. But Sophia moved through it as though she was underwater. The faces of strangers blurred at the edges, their laughter and conversations faded into a single low drone. Her world had gone transparent, and through it she sensed something vast, a field of light pulsing just beyond the veil of perception. She tried to shake it. She ran her errands, answered messages, and went to work. Yet everything she touched felt insubstantial, as if she were handling replicas of real things. At one point she caught her reflection in a shop window and stopped, cold. For a moment she saw someone else staring back, her face illuminated from within, eyes glowing faintly gold, as if lit by an unseen sun. It vanished in an instant, leaving her pale and trembling in the reflection. By afternoon, the vision haunted her every quiet moment. Every time she closed her eyes, the man of light appeared again, not fully, not solidly, but like an after-image branded into her sight. The memory of him had a scent, like warmed amber and rain. It filled her lungs until her body felt too small to contain it. That night she dreamt again, but this time the dream did not come as before. She stood in a vast field beneath an unfamiliar sky, stars like molten gold scattered across a river of night. The air trembled with something alive, something listening. When he appeared, she knew it wasn't a dream in the usual sense. This was something else, a place between two worlds. He moved toward her, the air shimmering around him. "You called?" he asked, though his lips didn't move, the words were a vibration felt more than heard. "I don't remember calling," she whispered. His eyes were pure light, and in them she saw things she couldn't understand. Galaxies turning like sparks, oceans of fire, faces she didn't know. You did, he said, and his voice was both tender and commanding. Long before you were awake. Sophia tried to speak, but the ground beneath her trembled with a low hum that seemed to come from within her own body. Her hands glowed faintly. The dream began to dissolve into light, and just before it vanished, she heard his final whisper. Wake, dreamer. The flame remembers you. She woke with tears on her cheeks and her skin warm as though she had been standing close to a fire. Nothing in her apartment had changed. The books, the walls, the quiet hum of her refrigerator, and yet everything felt different. Reality itself seemed to bend around her heartbeat. Sophia stood at her window, the city stretching out below her, every street light a faint echo of that golden radiance. For the first time, she wasn't afraid. She knew something had begun, and whatever it was, she could no longer turn away. The days that followed were strange in their quietness, not silent. The city still roared beyond her window. The wind still slipped through the trees, but quiet in a different way, as if something beneath the noise had fallen still, waiting for her to notice. Sophia found herself pausing mid-conversation, mid-step, mid-breath. The world seemed to shimmer at the edges, as though reality were only a thin film stretched over something luminous and alive. It began with small things, the flicker of lights when she walked into a room, the way her phone glitched when she thought of him, a single white feather that appeared on her pillow each morning for 3 days in a row. She stopped dismissing them as coincidence when she felt the hum again, that low vibration rising from somewhere deep in her body, answering something unseen. It wasn't fear that came, but recognition, the same way a melody remembers the song that it belongs to. One evening she sat by her window as the sky bruised into twilight. The sun slipped beneath the horizon, leaving the city washed in the blue glow of its own reflection, and in that in-between hour she felt him, not in sight, not even in thought, but in presence. The air thickened, almost liquid, her heartbeat slowed, sinking with the same larger rhythm. Sophia whispered into the dim, "Who are you?" And though there was no sound, the answer came, blooming directly inside her chest. "I am what you are becoming." The words struck something deeper within her, not understanding, but remembrance. Tears gathered at the edges of her eyes, not from sadness, but from what? A sudden ache of knowing too much. That night her dreams were fevered and bright, flashes of fire, hands reaching across a sea of stars. The man of light, his face both radiant and sorrowful, whispering her name as if it were a prayer he'd been saying for centuries. When she woke, her body was trembling, her sheets clung damply to her skin, and the faint scent of smoke lingered in the air, though nothing burned. Sophia went to the mirror and gasped softly. A faint gold shimmer traced along her collarbone, light beneath the skin, pulsing gently, but fading as she watched. The line between dream and waking had thinned, and in the days that followed, the world began to respond to her differently. Strangers held her gaze a moment too long, eyes softening as if they had sensed something ancient moving beyond her expression. Music on the radio would play lyrics that seemed to speak directly to her thoughts. Time would fold strangely, hours dissolving into moments, and moments stretching until they felt eternal. And though it frightened her, a deeper part of Sophia knew this was only the beginning. The dream had not come to her, it had come through her. And somewhere beyond her understanding, a door had opened, and the man of light was waiting on the other side. The world no longer moved in straight lines. It breathed, it shimmered, and it spoke. Sophia could feel it now, a pulse running beneath the surface of things, drawing her onward. Each day she woke with a sense of being summoned, though she didn't yet know by what or to where. The call began as a whisper, threaded through her thoughts like music heard through water. It was subtle at first, almost fragile, a note she could almost ignore. But the more she tried to return to her old rhythms, the louder it became, and until it was all she could hear. She started walking without knowing her destination, down unfamiliar streets, through the park at dusk, where the air smelled of rain and earth, into old bookstores, candlelit cafes, places that seemed to hum with invisible energy. Everywhere she went, signs appeared, small, deliberate, and impossible to dismiss. A stranger handed her a folded paper on the train. Inside was a single line written in a delicate hand. "The flame remembers you." Her breath caught the same words that she had heard in the dream. One night she woke suddenly, heart racing, to find her room filled with light, soft, golden, pulsing like the heartbeat of the universe itself. She sat up, and there he was again, the man of light, but this time he did not vanish. He stood at the foot of her bed, radiant yet unbearably human, the kind of beauty that hurts to look at. His eyes were galaxies, alive and endless. Sophia's voice trembled. Why me? His soft gaze and his voice, if it could be called that, wrapped around her like a warmth. Because you remember, and because the world has forgotten. She felt her chest tighten and an ache of recognition deeper than memory. He extended a hand, pure light shaped like flesh, and she thought that if she took it, her life would never be the same. I don't understand, she whispered. You will, he said. When the fire within you meets the fire without, the two must remember that they are one. And then the light imploded, not outward, but inward, as though it had entered her. The next morning, Sophia felt different, not in any visible way. She looked the same, the world looked the same, but something in her perception had shifted. She could see the world breathing, trees exhaling light, the sky moving in waves of color, the air alive with threads of gold that connected everything to everything. It wasn't a hallucination, it was remembrance, and with it came an unmistakable certainty. She had to go, somewhere far from the noise and repetition of her current life, somewhere ancient and alive. She didn't know how she knew it, only that the call had taken shape, a direction, a destination whispering in her blood. She began to pack a small bag, a journal, a pendant her grandmother had given to her long ago, a symbol of a sun entwined with a rose. She traced her fingers over it, feeling the faint vibration of warmth beneath the metal. As she closed her door behind her, the city lights flickered once, as though it recognized her departure. The wind carried a whisper, familiar and electric, across her skin. Come, dreamer, the fire awaits. And Sophia walked into the night, her heart alight with something that was no longer just longing, but purpose.